it's me. I'm back. It is the negligent Teacher Says of the Teacher Says podcast. It is so great to be back. I have been pretty much everywhere and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So stay tuned, keep it locked. It is episode 7 of the Teacher Says podcast. Hey everyone, it's me. I'm back. It's Sess of TeacherSess.com. It is so great to be in the basement studios, even though it has been raining here and there's water seepage and all. I keep thinking of how much money this is going to cost me to fix. Guess what? I'm still 100% grateful to be back on air or over your podcast waves or however you want to refer to it. If you have not hit that subscribe button, do so now, like right now. Just press it. Make sure you rate and review the show. So I have been on hiatus. It's been approximately a month. And to be quite honest, I wasn't expecting to be off for a month. Let's start from the very beginning. So right at the end of the last episode, I made the announcement that I was going to be out of town, or I don't remember the exact verbiage, but I did say I was going on vacation. Well, that vacation has come and gone, and now I can reveal, I didn't go to Bali or anywhere exotic. I took my kids and myself. We went to Orlando. We went to Disney's Animal Kingdom. I always have to stop and pause because I'm not one of those Disney aficionados, and I'm hoping we're going to set some things up. And we're hoping to have a Disney episode, but it's kind of on the back burner right now. So we went there. We also we stayed at a resort, which was absolutely fabulous. I'm going to not say the name yet because I'm trying to get in contact with the resort. I have nothing but good things to say, and I would love to share some opportunities with you guys in regards to this beautiful place that we stayed. And lastly, the grand finale of the trip was my kids and I were all first-time cruisers, me by choice, and we took a cruise on Royal Caribbean to the Bahamas. First time that my kids and myself have been to the Bahamas, although I've been to Caribbean a lot. I've never been to the Bahamas. It was exciting. It was the first time I took my twins out of the country. They had their little cute passport books. It was fun. We had a very good time in the Bahamas. We walked to Junkanoo Beach, which was unexpected because we were like unplanned tourists and we were just walking around like what's there to get into other than Atlantis, because I'm also a very frugal traveler and I was not trying to spend all that money to go to Atlantis when I heard it was very expensive. So we walked around, we met the locals, I got myself a drink, and then we ended up at Junkanoo Beach, which was in walking distance from the cruise ports in Nassau. So that was fun. The cruise was okay. I mean, it's funny because of course my kids loved it. It's going to make me try to do it annually would be lovely, but just realistically probably every couple of years. I thought it was okay. I've always kind of avoided cruising because I just thought it would be like a floating resort. And plus having kids there, I didn't really get to experience the true nature of cruising as far as the shows and all that. We were in bed quite early every night. My daughter did not like the kids' room or kids, whatever it's called. So she didn't want to be a part of that. So we spent a lot of time in the evenings watching movies up on the pool deck. We only ate like the fine dining experience the last night we were there, and it was nice. I don't know. We did a lot of like the family buffets, quick meals and things of that nature, which is cool. I mean, I'm not saying and complaining. Like, shoot, I was on a cruise. What do I have to complain about? The kids liked the pool. It was cool looking at the ocean. We actually saw dolphins in the water, etc., etc. Of course, they want to go on a Disney cruise next, and I'm like, do you know how much a Disney cruise costs? But I'm trying. I'm going to save up money to make it happen eventually. But Royal Caribbean was nice. Lots of things to do on the ship per se, but when you're with kids, you're kind of limited in what's kid friendly. So we spent a lot of time at the pool, and it was a very short cruise, like I believe it was 3 nights or 2 nights, something of that nature. Because I just didn't. First off, I don't have money like that, so I had to do pretty much the cheapest cruise that was available at the time. And then secondly, I didn't know how we would feel about cruising. None of us had ever gone. What if everybody hated it? The kids were kind of fearful of the whole tiny bathroom shower situation, which I was even like, yeah, this looks a little scary. But once I actually took a shower, I was like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought, but it was still kind of small and scary. And then I wanted to get a stateroom with a balcony. But once again, it was something that was actually in the budget, but then I started getting paranoid about my kids. I'm like, what if they get ideas and run on the balcony and want to jump off the balcony? I mean, of course, that probably would not happen, but, I was playing on the side of caution and decided against that. So all in all, I can say the Royal Caribbean experience was positive. I kind of had a feeling my kids would like it more than me, and that's actually what happened. So we'd probably cruise again, but I'm not in a hurry to try it again. The Disney experience, I would love to get into more detail on that when I have a Disney expert. It's cool. I see why people like Disney. I've never been a rah-rah like Disney type person. I've been to both Disneyland and Disney World. I went to once as a child. Animal Kingdom, we decided to go that route because my son loves animals, and it was cool. It was expensive. I had an idea it was expensive, but I was kind of a little sticker shocked to realize how much they want. But I mean, once again, I was prepared. I'm like, okay, I'll pay for it, whatever, make the kids happy. It was cool to see animals that you normally don't see at the zoo. We saw a crocodile, a hippopotamus. Was it worth $110? I don't know. But the rides were cool. We had fun. Everybody was happy. It was a long day. They were ready to go at like 5. I'm like, oh, no. We getting our $110 worth. So we made them stay until 7:30 because I couldn't leave. Even though we were tired, I just could not leave. No, not. We were only doing one day too. So that was that. And lastly, like I said, the resort, I will keep it the name under lock until hopefully I, get some arrangements. It was the highlight of the trip. And, first off, this is a unsponsored, no ads, doing this because it was really that great. It was the best resort I ever stayed at, very reasonably priced. It saved us a gang of money because they had a full working kitchen, so we were able to, I rented a car, which I'll get into that in a minute. We were able to go to the grocery store and buy groceries, thus cooking for ourselves, I cooked for the kids. So, I ended up saving money with that, didn't have to go out to a restaurant. All in all, the resort was banging. And then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, the resort was fairly new. I think it was less than 2 years old. It had a water park attached that was included in the rate that we paid per night, and the water park was banging. Even my old self went down a water slide. I have not been down a water slide probably since I was like 17, 19 years old. So I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. They had a floating, lazy river, pool entry. I think beach entry, swimming pool. Yeah. In all honesty, thinking back to the whole trip, we could have just stayed at this resort for 5 days and let the kids play at the, water park every day, and we would have been fine. It was really that live. So that was that. And then the only negative about the trip was the rental car I had. I used dollar rent-a-car, and you never really realize that a lot of people have bad experiences until after the fact. Then I jump on Yelp and like, all these people are saying dollar is not that great, and I see why. I just, from start to finish, disappointed. Like I originally rented like a manager special. When I get there, all of a sudden that's not available. The price that I was quoted, that I put on my credit card, when I get to the counter, of course they want more money. The cars that were available were not what I was promised. Just bad after bad after bad after. I mean, the only good thing is it got from point A to point B. That's pretty much it. But lesson learned, I will not be using dollar rent a car ever again, and that is that. So, all in all, that is what I spent the first half of my 4 week hiatus. Then when I came back home for literally one day, and the next day I was out. I went to Las Vegas. I have been to Las Vegas a lot, so I really don't have any rundown on that other than I wasn't really quite a fan of the hotel I stayed at. I won't name the name because all in all, I was kind of upset about something, but it worked out to the end. But it's a little kind of off strip. I knew better. I'll just leave it at that. I knew I probably shouldn't have stayed there, and I was right. I'm very familiar with Vegas. I'm very familiar with the hotels. I was familiar with this hotel, and I was already kind of like, eh. But I went ahead and went with the program because the rate was pretty good, and I was kind of disappointed. But that was the only disappointment in that route. I went for a friend's birthday. That was wonderful. The first day I got there, I was the Lone Ranger. I got there by myself, and it was me. No one else was there until the next day. That was marvelous. I got to walk around. I hit 30,000 steps on my Fitbit. That was like a world record for me. Oh yeah, and this was good. I highly recommend I believe it's called MJ Live at the Stratosphere. It is a Michael Jackson impersonator, and even though it sounds cheesy, if you're a Michael Jackson fan, and yes, I'm a Michael Jackson fan, it was lit. Like it was really good. I liked it. Maybe I'll put some on the Instagram. I have some pictures up or whatever you post up, whatever the phrase is. I'll put some more if anyone is interested, and even if you're not interested, I'll still put some more up there anyway. So, all in all, I'm not going to get into Vegas because I've been there a lot. There's really nothing exciting to share. Played roulette, won a little bit. Didn't probably, in all the times I've been to Vegas, and it's been at least 12 times in my life, this is the least amount of gambling I did, which is good because I need to save my money and not spend it on gambling. But that was that. And then, next reason for the hiatus, immediately coming back, I go back to work. And, it's always hard, not to give away too much. I am teacher sus for a reason because I actually really teach. I'm still in the classroom. It's draining for me the first couple of weeks to go back. You're trying to get back in the routine, get back to getting used to getting up super early, fighting traffic, etc., etc. And I kept thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, I just want to come down to my basement studio and podcast and talk on my mic. And I can't do that because I'm tired and I want to go to bed. And that's exactly what I did. I took myself to bed early and I missed out on being here on the mic. And even tonight, it's kind of late, but luckily it's a holiday for us tomorrow, or day off, I should say, so I don't have to go to work. So that's why I'm here. So, getting back on topic to today's show, we are going to have an interview with Tiffany representing DaDaABC. You're going to hear a little bit of information about that regarding online teaching. When it comes to DaDaABC, I hear a lot of mixed things. Of course, money is to be made, but at what price? So Tiffany's going to get into more detail about that, of course. And that's about it. So definitely want to keep it locked right here. And we're back with Tiffany, and she is representing DaDaABC, which is an online teaching company based out of China. So, Tiffany, how are you doing this evening?
I'm very well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm always doing great. So, let me ask you, so our friends here get an idea, where in this great world are you located right now?
I'm currently located in Hyattsville, Maryland, right on the border of Washington, D.C.
Cool, cool, cool. So tell me a little bit about the company that you're working for and what made you decide to teach English as a second language online.
Okay, so DaDa ABC, as you said, is an online company based out of China. They have what really I guess kind of lured me into this particular company is their set hours.
Mm-hmm.
As a brick and mortar teacher, I teach first grade in DC.
Mm-hmm.
schedule, a set schedule and consistency was really like purposeful and really worked well for me. So I decided to go with DaDa ABC, wake up in the mornings around 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, teach until 7, and then be off to my brick and mortar for 8 o'clock. So that really what like got me interested in DaDa ABC. Also, you get paid for whether you get a student or not. So if you have set hours, because you do have set hours, if I'm sitting in front of the computer, but I don't have a student, I still get paid half of my base rate. So that is another thing that really stuck out to me and sets this company apart from most other companies. So that's what I really like. What lured me into like ESO teaching itself is I teach at a
Mhm.
bilingual school in DC. And so I teach English language learners all day, every day. And I love my students so much. And I'm like, wow, it will be amazing if I could. When I found out about teaching online and teaching English language learners online, I'm like, this is perfect. It's like a happy marriage. I sit in my house, I teach the babies, and then I go to my brick and mortar and teach more babies, and then I come home, go to sleep, wake up, and do it all over again. And it's great. So
Wow, that's amazing, especially when you're mentioning you were teaching before you even leave the house. And that half pay sounds like a sweet deal, especially if, like I said, if the student doesn't show up, you're still getting paid. Thus, your time is not being wasted. And that's very important. So,
exactly.
let me follow up by asking you, I've been exploring a lot of online teaching. And my question to you is, how long have you personally been teaching online?
I started actually with VIP Kid,
Hmm.
and I started in at the end of November is when I got hired, November 21st to be exact.
Hmm.
But I didn't start opening slots until December, and even then it was a little wishy-washy. I got about just a few bookings, and I feel like it. I started with DaDa in January when I noticed my bookings weren't taking off with VIP Kid, and
Hmm.
then I had like a hack. I hacked the system by subbing for VIP Kid, and like my booking started taking off around March. So I'd say around March is when I really started getting my footing and like understanding what online ESO teaching is and being a really good teacher, being a really good person to do that.
Oh, that's very good. I hear mommy, mommy. I couldn't tell if that's my mommy or your mommy because I have a child too. And I'm like, is he up? Because I put them to bed. But my son will come down these steps and like make a special guest appearance on the podcast every now and then. I'm like, boy, go upstairs. But anyway, following up, how long have you been with your company? How long have you been representing Data ABC?
Since January, the end of January. So actually I got hired like right before my birthday. My birthday's January 22nd, shameless
Hmm.
plug. And so yeah, I got hired like right I think my first day was January 23rd with DaDa. And
Oh.
I started getting students. You get regular students. So
Hmm.
I had 3 regular students when I was with the company.
Hmm.
And yeah, I would see one of the students I saw once a week, and the other 2 students I saw 2 times a week. And that would be and then I'd get trials here and there. Actually, I get a lot
Hmm.
of trials or interest classes, which are classes where the students can book, that's outside of their regular teacher.
Okay, I understand. Like I said, I've said it before on previous episodes. I also have spent some time with VIP kids, so I'm kind of very well vested in their policies and how they operate. So now let me ask a question that's running theme of all the various people I've been interviewing, which is the personalized experience of being a teacher of color. So how has being a teacher of color been for you when you're teaching online, especially as I mentioned before, in a country like China where, there's not a lot of diversity.
Right, as China is like a homogenous country, it I I think, going into it, I was kinda blind. I just was like, "Okay, like, hopefully they're not racist. Hopefully, like, it all goes well." I didn't do any research behind it. I just know
Mhm,
my friend said that my friend who is also a teacher of color,
mhm,
said that she started with VIP Kid and she really enjoyed it. So I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do it too. Like, that sounds
mhm,
great. I need some extra change." So again, I went in blind and didn't really know, like, what to expect.
mhm,
And honestly, I did not experience any like overt racism to my knowledge.
mhm,
I think like with DaDa ABC, I got paid one of the highest. Like they have a bracket. So I think it's a scale of like 90 RMB, which is their currency, to
Mm-hmm.
120 RMB for like newcomers, and I got 120 RMB for like as my base rate pay. So I got the higher end of things, and I'm like, okay, like that's cool. It shows that I'm actually a really good teacher, and that's great. With
Mm-hmm.
VIP Kid, I just when I started with them, my pay was like one of the lowest because I just wasn't good at it yet. But they saw a
Yeah.
lot of potential, and I got better at it. So in terms of pay, like I feel like it's been fair. In terms of my interactions, I feel like that's also been really fair. Something
Mm-hmm.
that really, really helps is being on the teacher of color pages. So there's a page called Color Me DaDa, which is a teacher of color page for DaDaABC. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the VIP Kid teacher of color page, which has really, really taken off. And I think being a part of both of those groups has really helped. I teach also for Say ABC now, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
in their teacher of color group, and so like it really helps to see other mostly women, but like other women and men of color
Mm-hmm.
going through similar experiences, or like showing you hope. Like this is like I aspire to be making a couple $1,000s a month just like you, or I'm going through like a lack of bookings right now. Is anyone else going through this? So having those shared experiences, we already have so many shared experiences, but when it comes to online ESL teaching, we have others, and one of which I would say, I guess only one really experience that showed me like, oh yeah, you're like legit black in your teaching. One of my
Mm-hmm.
students asked me straight up like, oh, or told me I should say, hey teacher Tiffany is black, and I'm like, I'm black and I'm beautiful. And they're like,
Yeah.
yes. That was it. Like it was nothing else to it. I've seen
Yeah.
horror stories, but I've also seen a lot of uplifting stories. And all of that I think helps to get through what you're getting through and
Very
make that
good.
money. At the end of the day, you're securing the bag. So
Yeah, definitely. Let me also add on what you said about when you were mentioning those groups. They're based on Facebook, so if anybody wanted to explore and find them, they can go on their Facebook feed and find that. And that's another thing. When you mentioned that you have to get good at it yet, I think sometimes people who are listening might think, "Oh, sounds easy." These Most of these positions are pretty competitive, and not just anybody can get up off the street and go and try out. You know what I'm saying? And apply and think
yeah,
they're gonna make it. So just practice takes perfect, people. Definitely keep that in mind. So,
legit.
let me ask you, how far in advance do you have to schedule in order to book classes with DaDa ABC?
You give them your set schedule or
Mhm.
upon like your receipt of a contract. Like you get your contract, you say these are the hours that I'd like to work, and that's it. And
Okay.
there's no, wiggle room there. Trying to call off for work is
Mhm.
I think pretty difficult because they have such steep stipulations or steep like punishments for like your payment and things. So
Mhm.
that's something I think that I can definitely work on, but
Mhm.
that's something to also like take into consideration. So yeah, like you have their set schedule. My schedule was Saturday and Sunday, 6
Mhm.
p.m. I'm gonna go Beijing time. So like, well, this podcast. I'm sorry, this podcast is Eastern Standard Time.
Well, yeah, we're Eastern Standard Time, but the podcast is
Yeah.
definitely
Okay.
aired to the world.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna I taught from on Saturdays and Sundays from 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. That was after, once daylight savings time had hit. When
Mhm.
when we go back and we don't have daylight savings time anymore, and we like fall back, I guess, um it'll be like an hour before, so 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. on the weekends.
Cool, cool. Now, does DaDa ABC allow you to sub? Like, if there's this teacher that calls out at the last minute, do they give you the option to be the substitute teacher?
It's not as well, I guess for VIP Kid, it's not as flexible either, but, like, it's
Mhm.
not as easy as it is to hijack the VIP Kid subbing.
Right.
With DaDa, you have to apply for part-time hours,
Mhm.
and when you apply, you literally are, like, applying, like, it's an application, and then they approve it or not approve it, and then those are the hours that you're expected to stand by your computer,
Mhm.
regardless. You have to stand by your computer, but the only difference is with part-time hours, you do not get paid if you don't have a student in front of you. So you're just waiting and hoping that they give you a lot of classes. And that's
Mm.
like the only way that they like, I guess, have their substitute situation.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, that's really it.
Okay. Now let me ask you, going off of being a teacher of color again, have you found any racism from from the company, Data ABC, or what are your feelings towards the company?
Um, I have a gripe with the company, but it isn't related to race, at least not in my opinion. I think that it's like just a clerical error, and just them being very strict. But in terms of my pay, I decided to quit 1 month before my contract was over because summer is not a time for me to be consistent. Summer is the time for me to like let my hair down and do what I want to do when I want to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to quit a month ahead. So my last day was the end of June, was June 26th,
Mm-hmm.
and I got paid. I want to say like a couple days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and my pay was significantly lower than it should have been, and
Mm-hmm.
it was because part of it was like a couple of penalties, to my knowledge, and then another part of it was they just didn't tax on, like, they just messed up somewhere. I had a couple days off, and with me having a couple days off, they just took way more than they should have away from my paycheck, and so me teaching a full or almost a full nearly a full month, with a few days off here and there, I made, like, $36. That's what ended up in my account, and that's absurd.
Wow. And
Right.
and I'm glad you're speaking on that because that is one of the pitfalls of working for a company that is not based in the United States, especially based in China, where there's a lot of cultural differences and a huge language barrier. You know, if there's a problem, oftentimes they can say we didn't get this or we didn't see that, or and I know it's very popular to say screenshot, but even with screenshots they can still say, well, like basically the attitude is you're there, we're here, deal. And
Mhm.
that's most unfortunate because you want your money when you want your money, and I don't know about you, but when people play with my money, it's like playing with my emotions, like they say. And it's not like I said, and that's one of the things you have to be very cognizant of, that, oftentimes I feel, this is just my opinion, which I probably shouldn't be giving, but we're being taken advantage of because of the distance, cultural differences, and language barriers. But again, that is my opinion and not the opinion of, whoever the powers that be that are higher than my opinion. But yeah,
That's
that's
funny.
definitely crazy. So on that note, is there any final thoughts that you would like to share to the people out there, or any final thoughts in regards to just teaching online, or anything you'd like to share?
I honestly think that teaching online, like you said, it does require work. It's not like, oh, I just hop up, like I do literally hop up out of bed and teach, but it's not the type of thing where I could just come off the street and be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a teacher now, like, I'm gonna teach the babies." No, there's a lot of strategy, there's techniques, there's workshops you should attend, videos, like, countless videos I watched, and I am an actual, like I teach in a brick and mortar school, I teach early
Mhm,
childhood education, I also have a special education degree,
mhm.
and even like, there's a learning curve even for
Yeah,
seasoned teachers. I'm not a seasoned teacher, but even for seasoned teachers, there's a
yeah,
learning curve, so I would say, like, if you're thinking about doing it, hop in, like, definitely do it, but like, get the support that you need so that you can make it through the interview process, which can be kind of like a pain, sometimes depending on the company, and just make it through and like getting the bookings that you want so that you can see the financial success that you want. Because at the end of the day, it is an
yeah,
extremely lucrative side hustle. I teach a couple hours a week essentially and make about 1,500 a month. Like
mhm.
it's incomparable.
It's very easy work, and I'm glad that you talked on that about being a brick and mortar teacher, or as some people refer to it as a teacher with a certification. So basically, it
Mhm.
means that you have like a license, for those who might not be in the know, to teach in the state that, or in your case, the district that you teach in, because not everybody has that. And like, full disclosure, I haven't revealed this on the show, but I'm also a certificated teacher in the state of Maryland and California. I just like to point that out, even though I don't use it. I renew it I think it expires every 6 years. And even though I haven't taught in California in like 15 years, I just renew it just because I work pretty darn hard to get it and I don't want it to go away. So,
Mhm.
in that case, piggybacking off what you said, I actually know more than a few certificated teachers who had applied for various online companies, and shockingly, they didn't make the cut, because it's not so much what that it comes to that edutainment component that actually, once again, I'm giving my opinion, I'm not a big fan of, because I feel like it's Sesame Street in some components that you are like putting on a show. But at the end of the day, I want my money. So I'll, I'll go there and do it. But
Mhm.
it's like, I have a love-hate thing for the edutainment component of some of the companies where, I feel like they, want to put on a show. And then when I was teaching with VIP, well, I still currently, I guess, am teaching with VIP Kid, I tend to gravitate towards the higher levels because that's more of where I am now. I teach in a middle school. So I'm not really down for, even though I'm saying this and I have my puppets and all that right here, I just don't really feel like doing that anymore. I've taught in elementary. It was fun when I did it, but now I've moved on to middle school and I kind of like that component. I really don't want to go back to pulling out the puppets and putting on Sesame Street Live down in my basement. But it is what it is, and it's not easy. And I know some people who are listening think anybody off the street can do this, and it's no, it's not. It's a little bit more complex than that. But anywho, Tiffany, so the people out there, if they want to find you via social media, do you have any plugs you want to give, your IG, or any way that people can get in contact with you?
Oh, sure. My
Mhm.
Instagram is at underscore TYMD. Yeah, T is in Tom, Y is in, I don't know, yo-yo,
Mhm.
M is in Mary, D is in Dan.
Mhm. Excuse me, I was taking a sip of water and I was like, "Ooh," and I said, "Cool." So that's the outlet that people can find you. And you're gonna find out my podcast. I keep it very real between threatening to like tell my, get my son upstairs when he tries to come and sneak down here and taking sips of water and stuff. But like I said, we are upstart. Even right now, somebody's calling me, but we're gonna pretend we don't hear that and keep it moving. So anyway,
Mhm.
I thank you so much, Tiffany, for joining me today. It's been fun and you've been very informative, and it is great to have you on the show. Okay.
No problem, anytime.
Thank you very much. So stick around and we'll be right back. Back we are. So, in the next segment, let's talk about my fitness journey. And I say that laughingly because the fitness journey obviously is not working very well. But I have started yet another fitness plan. This one I am trying to get back into the swing of things because I actually did it before and I had very good results or something similar. I have mentioned, and I hope Shanti is listening because I'm always promoting Shanti. I love Shanti. A couple years ago, let me think, my kids, 4 years ago, I did T25 and I actually had really great results. I lost about 20 pounds. I was very consistent with it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Can't say enough good things about it. So I decided this go around to try Insanity Max 30. So I've been doing that. I have my little calendar in front of me. With Monday was the cardio challenge, Tuesday is Tabata power, Wednesday sweat intervals, Thursday Tabata power, Friday fight round 1, and Saturday is rest or pulse. So I will keep you guys abreast of how that's going with Insanity Max 30 because it is difficult. It's especially difficult because I'm really, really out of shape. And the fact that I'm doing like power lifts or whatever that jump thing is called, I'm like, man, I'm trying my best. I'm just trying to keep up and max out. Honestly, I haven't even really maxed out because I'm not giving my full potential. I'm quite lazy with some of the moves, but I'm making it to the end of the program. So, we'll I will keep you guys abreast of that. And better yet, we should have like a little fitness group because I know, you know what the funny thing is, and I'm mentioning this, so I don't know if there's interest, we can have a group on the Facebook page. The time I did T25 before, it was actually, I had a Beachbody coach, and no, I'm not Beachbody affiliated at all. But the coach she wasn't trying to press the products or anything on us. And we would keep accountability with each other daily just by posting pictures in our workout or whatever. I don't know, that really worked for me. Like I said, the accountability factor was a plus, and I was able to be very consistent with it all the way up to when I went back to grad school, and that's when things kind of went haywire. But that's neither here nor there. So at any rate, if there's any interest, let me know, and I would love to form a little Facebook group from my Teacher Sass podcast Facebook page, and we'll see about that. So that's going to wrap up the show for this week. all in all, I am so happy to be back on the mic. It's great talking to everyone, and definitely keep it locked. I will be more consistent posting episodes. So keep listening. Tell a friend and a friend and a friend and everyone you know to listen to the Teacher Says podcast. I'm on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and Google Play. That is all. Have a fabulous, fabulous week, and bye-bye.